Welcome everyone to episode 60, our EDH Commander Challenge 600 subscriber special. I'm your host, BT, and thank you as always to our ever-growing EDHCC family, which has surpassed 600 subscribers. The kindness and support from you guys has been endless, and we're honored to bring you new content every week as a result. Next week, September 30th, I'll be announcing our next giveaway. And for today, we present our family with a small gift, a multiplayer video. Today, for the first time ever, we're having a two-headed giant EDHCC showdown. Today features two of our favorite non-Elder Dragon legends in the Magic lore, Akroma and Kamahl. Each of them have two forms that boast incredible power and strength. But which is better? Is it Team Kamahl or Team Akroma? Well, starting with Team Kamahl, we have Mark, who will be playing Kamahl Pit Fighter, and starts with a hand including Desperate Ritual, Valduk Keeper of the Flame, Godo Bandit Warlord, the Immortal Sun, Sensei's Divining Top, a Mountain, and Myriad Landscape. His partner Gemi, representing Kamahl Fist of Krosa, keeps a hand with Nissa, Vastwood Seer, Garruk's Horde, Gamekeeper, Karametra's Acolyte, two Forests, and Yavimaya Hollow. Their opponents are Team Akroma, featuring Skylar McBrain, who wields Akroma, Angel of Wrath, and has a hand that contains 4 planes, Ghostly Prison, Day of Judgment, and Scion of Vitu-Ghazi. And finally, his partner, the mad scientist himself, representing Akroma Angel of Fury, has a hand with Poetic Ritual, Varric's Bladewing, Tyrant's Familiar, Avaricious Dragon, Arcane Lighthouse, and 2 Mountains. After dice rolling off camera to see who would go first, Team Kamahl will be starting us off shortly. Now, before we actually decide to do this, we decided to comb around on the internet to try and find some official rules for an EDH two-headed giant. And we found some stuff here and there, not really much anything official. So we decided to come up with our own rules we'll be using for today. The game will be played very similar to a normal multiplayer, where the only thing is that players will be sharing a life total of 60, and if a team receives 21 points of combat damage from a single commander or 10 infect damage from a single player, then the game ends. Players will not share fields, and players are permitted to choose which person to attack. That means teammates can't block for their teammate. Also, if a player activates an effect that grants them extra phases or extra turns, it will only affect them and not both players. So without any further ado, let's get this two-headed giant showdown started. Let's go! For Team Kamahl's first turn, Gemi plays a forest, while Mark plays a terrain generator and pays 1 mana to cast Sensei's Divining Top before they pass a turn. For Team Akroma's first turn, Skylar plays a Plains, and Francis plays a Mountain before passing. For Team Kamahl's second turn, Gemi plays another Forest, while Mark puts a Myriad Landscape into play and passes the turn. For Team Akroma's next turn, it's rinse and repeat, as again, another Plains, another Mountain land drop for each respective player before they pass a turn. During the end phase, Mark pays 1 mana to look at his top 3 cards with Sensei's Divining Top. For Team Kamahl's next turn, Gemi plays a Yavimaya Hollow, while Mark plays a Mountain. Gemi pays 3 to cast Nissa, Vastwood Seer to search at a free forest from his deck to his hand. He chooses Dryad Arbor, After that, they pass the turn. For Team Akroma, Skylar plays Nether Plains, while Francis plays his Arcane Lighthouse. Skylar pays 3 to cast Ghostly Prison, which forces any player attacking him to pay a tax of 2 mana per creature. Probably a good example of why it's more fair that players don't share permanents here in this game. Otherwise, Team Akroma would have a huge advantage. During their end step, Mark sacrificed his landscape to search for 2 mountains to put them into play tapped. For Team Kamahl's turn, Gemi plays his Dryad Arbor, and Mark plays another mountain. Gemi pays 3 and casts Wood Elves to put another forest into play from his deck. Mark pays 2 to cast Ruby Medallion so his red spells cost 1 less. Then for 1 mana, plays Desperate Ritual to gain 3 mana. He then taps 2 to cast the first general of the game, Kamahl Pitfighter. The team then moves into combat and attacks Francis with Kamahl, Dryad Arbor, and Nissa for a grand total of 9 damage, putting him to 51 life and 6 Pitfighter damage. After that, they pass a turn. For Team Akroma's turn, Francis plays a mountain, and Skylar pays 1 to cast Soul Ring. Skylar then pays 4 mana to cast Day of Judgment to kill all 4 creatures in play. Mark returns Kamahl to the commander zone. Skylar then plays a Plains for his land, and then the team passes the turn. For Team Kamahl's next turn, Gemi starts by paying 3 for Viridian Corruptor. He uses its ability to destroy Skylar's Soul Ring. Mark then plays another mountain and casts Godo Bandit Warlord for 5 thanks to his medallion. Through Godo's effect, Mark gets a free Shield of Kaldra into play before passing his turn. For Team Akroma, Skylar plays a Plains, and Francis plays a mountain for their lands, and Francis decides to go big. He casts Poetic Ritual for 2 to gain 3 mana, then taps 3 more to play Hellkite Tyrant, which doesn't make Mark very happy for obvious reasons. Skylar pays 2 to play Gift of the Estates, allowing him to add 3 Plains lands from his deck to his hand, since Mark controls more lands than he does. After that, they pass the turn, but not before during the end phase when Mark uses his Sensei's Divine Top to confirm his top 3 cards. Team Kamahl's turn starts off with Gemi paying 4 mana to cast Gamekeeper. Mark pays 1 mana to use his top again during his own turn, and then casts Valduk, Keeper of the Flame for 2 mana. After which he spends another 2 mana to cast the enchantment aura Galvanic Arc, which he enchants his Valduk with, and uses its ability to shoot Francis for 3 with its other effect, putting Team Akroma to 48 life. He then moves into combat and gets a 3/1 token as a result of it, but then realizes that he's unable to attack Skylar due to having to pay the tax for Ghostly Prison, and is staring down a giant dragon on Francis' side that is too big to overcome. As a result, the token quietly leaves the stage and the turn comes to an end. Team Akroma's turn has come and Skylar plays a Plains, while Francis pays 5 to play a Hoarding Dragon. With its effect, he exiles a Gilded Lotus underneath it. Skylar shows absolute teamwork at this point by casting Ajani, Adversary of Tyrants, and he uses its +1 ability to place a +1/+1 counter on both of his partner's dragons. Francis then moves into combat and attacks Mark with the Hellkite Tyrant. This deals 7 damage to Team Kamahl, putting them to 53 life. And the icing on the cake? Well, the Hellkite allows Francis to steal all of Mark's artifacts. But of course, Mark saves his Sensei's Divine Top by drawing a card and moving the card to the top of his deck. Team Akroma passes the turn, now firmly in control of the game. For Team Kamahl's turn, Mark plays a Mountain, and Gemi pays 4 to cast Karametra's Acolyte. The magical dev would be proud. Mark recasts his Sensei's Top for 1 mana, and then they pass the turn. For Team Akroma's turn, Skylar plays a Plains and pays 6 to cast Angelic Skirmisher. Francis decides to make full use of the medallion he just got right away, and for 5 casts Ryusei the Falling Star. Skylar continues to fuel the Mad Scientist's creatures with Ajani's +1 ability, placing another +1/+1 counter on the Hellkite Tyrant and Hoarding Dragon. Francis moves into combat and attacks Mark with his 2 powered-up dragons. Again, Mark saves his top like he did the turn before, and then eats a massive 14 damage, putting Team Kamahl down to 39. Before passing the turn, however, during the end phase, Mark decides to give up his Sensei's Top and casts Chaos Warp, targeting his Shield of Kaldra that Francis took from him, shuffling it back into his deck and hoping for a new permanent card to help in this situation. However, unfortunately, after shuffling, he revealed a Seething Song. For Team Kamahl's next turn, Gemi taps his Acolyte for 4 mana and casts Harmonize to draw 3 cards. He then plays a Forest and pays 1 to cast Birds of Paradise. Then 2 more to play Sakura Tribe Elder. Mark pays 3 to play Seething Song, giving him 5 mana, and taps 3 more mana to bring Kamahl Pitfighter back into the field. Mark then decides to make a play that no one expected and uses Kamahl's ability right away. His target? Gemi's Gamekeeper. Okay. Let's see what their first act of teamwork yields. Gemi's Gamekeeper triggers when it hits the graveyard and he exiles it, and reveals cards until he hits an Eternal Witness. With Witness's effect, Gemi takes the Court of Calling that was just sent there to the Gamekeeper's effect, and they respectively pass the turn. For Team Akroma's turn, Skylar plays a Plains and states that the wait is finally over, and pays 8 to bring Akroma, Angel of Wrath, to the field. Francis pays 3 at the time to play Herald's Horn, Calling Dragons. And then Francis's evil levels go over 9,000 when he pays 3 and plays Act of Treason on Mark's General, stealing Kamahl Pitfighter from him until the end of the turn. Ouch. Skylar uses Ajani's +1 ability again, but this time to strengthen his own creatures. Francis taps Kamahl to kill Valduk, And then Team Akroma goes into combat. Skylar uses his angelic skirmisher to give all of his creatures lifelink until end of turn. At which point Team Akroma attacks with all their creatures and swing their combined powers down on Team Kamahl, dealing out a stylish 31 damage, including 7 Akroma damage, leaving Team Kamahl with a mere 8 life. They then move to their end phase. At which point Gemi, using up the ability of Convoke as a last resort, pays a grand total of 6 between his lands and creatures, and plays Court of Calling for 3. The creature he searches out turns out to be none other than Shaman of Forgotten Ways. Also, the effect of Active Treason wears off, and Kamahl Pitfighter returns to Mark's field. The table, completely dumbfounded, watches as Team Kamahl takes their next turn. Gemi taps his Acolyte for 8, and then taps 3 lands to activate Shaman's Formidable effect, causing each team's life points to become the total of their combined creatures, equivalent to one of my old school favorite cards, Biorhythm. That causes Team Kamahl's light to remain at 8, as they had 8 creatures, and for Team Akroma's light to drop from 60 to 5. Mark then taps Pitfighter to deal 3 more damage, putting them to 2, and then have the remaining creatures attack Francis and end the game in a shocking comeback win for Team Kamahl. Alright guys, that's it for this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed watching it. A quick shout out to our EDH family, our subscribers if you will, who continue to grow in number with each week and each episode that we film. And guys, from the bottom of our hearts, we can't thank you enough for the support that you give, and we're forever grateful for that. So thank you very much, you're the best. And if you out there aren't already a subscriber and you want to be part of the family, smash the subscribe button and notification bells down below, and you'll know each and every time a new EDH video drops on YouTube. And we do weekly videos, by the way, so don't forget to like our videos, share them, comment, and most of all, enjoy them. Until next time, I'm your host, BT. Remind you to check out all the other videos on the channel. Continue to join our game. It's now your turn. Cheers!